Hello, hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? Okay, here we go. So, I wanted to speak on this briefly for good reason. Oh, my goodness, 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 my goodness. Here we go. There we go. Whew! All right, listen up, y'all. Um, Nothing really much has changed in regards to how people feel about homosexuality. Not too much has changed, okay? Not too much has changed. I'm going to say this, but I'm also going to put a couple of attachments to it. It's not for everybody. The renegades are the ones that are like, very loud about being on the side of homosexuals. Not all of them are actually allies. Not all of them are actually telling you the truth. Behind closed doors, they have opinions and they have thoughts and they have feelings in regards to homosexuals. And usually that whole rah, 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 I support homosexuals, so on and so forth, by some of these individuals, not all of them, it is because one of their family members is a homosexual. So for them to come against and or go against homosexuals as a whole would be an attack on their family member, which they do not want to do. So they support homosexuals or transgender or lesbians because they know someone in their family or someone that they're close to that is or identifies as being a homosexual, a transgender, or a lesbian, okay? But behind closed doors with other individuals that are against, do not like, prejudiced, hate towards, they will tell their truth and say, I really do not care for homosexuals or lesbians or transgenders, even though they have a family member that is of that. Now, for those that are in the public eye, for those that are in government, for those that are in positions of power or prestige, for them to come out as being homosexual or lesbian or transgender or even a cross-dresser would be like they are slapping the face of all of those individuals that are behind the scenes and or behind closed doors stating that they do not like homosexuals, as well as those that are outright out front saying they don't like homosexuals. Because they're in a position of power, they're seen as having more power, more prestige, they're on TV, they're respected, so on and so forth. To them, that would be they are being disrespectful of not only themselves and the power that they hold, the power that they have been given, but they will also see them as being tainted. This is not all, but a majority. They will see them as being tainted or being a problem and or possibly being a threat. What are they a threat to? They're a threat to the social and or societal norms that are so much prevalent in this world today. You still have people that are against the marriage of lesbians or homosexuals. They're against it. They don't believe in it. They don't like it. And the same as those that say that they're an ally or support homosexuals, but then behind the scenes will tell you the truth about it. The same way, you have the same people that are doing that in regards to gay marriage. You have people that say, oh, they should be able to get married. Well, if you were to, if you could read their mind, if you could look into their mind, if you can get the truth out of them, Not everybody, but a lot of them, they would have a problem with it. Those that say they're for it, they would have a problem with it. I'm going to give you another example. You'll have people that will say they will vote for one president in the public, in front of other people, in their neighborhood, and then behind the scenes, they'll vote for the other president. And they'll vote for the reasons that, you know, are so, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll vote for the reasons based off of prejudice. So, for instance, a black president versus a white president, or a female president versus a male president. You know, they don't want to be seen in a bad light, in a negative light, so they will lie to the face of others, and then behind the scenes, they'll speak the truth and they'll say things. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, I do not blame certain government officials and or those in power positions that are hiding their sexuality. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. You need to be real, you need to be honest. The thing is, if you're real and you're honest about it, if you're truthful about it, you're going to piss off a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of hate coming against you and towards you. And you're going to, basically, people are going to feel like they were deceived, they were tricked, they were lied to, so on and so forth. And you know what people do when they find out that they were lied to or they were tricked or they were, bamboozled. They get angry. They get vindictive. They want get back. They want justice. So I don't blame, officials, those in power that want to keep their sexual lives a secret. Well, that's the thing, is that you have a lot of individuals, those that you may not know, you may not be aware of, that are actually homosexual, but they have a family, and they have kids, and grandchildren even, and they're homosexuals. Or they're lesbians. They do their thing behind the scenes when they can, and then they live out loud in public with their family, their pretend family, because they know that they will not be respected or accepted by a lot of those that they're currently respected and accepted by. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Shout out Billy Joel. That's the truth. A lot of people are so untrue. They're not telling you all of their business because they don't want to tell you their business, because if they did tell you their business, you would judge them. You would prosecute them, you would persecute them, you would hate them, you would disrespect them, they would not have their seat of power or authority, and they may be good at what they do. But here is the caveat, what I mentioned earlier. You'll have individuals that will subject others that they truly identify with. They will subject them to abuse and or mistreatment. But they're doing that because that's what a majority of society wants them to do. It's just that they're in a position of power where they can do it. And those that are not in a position of power, those that are kind of in your face, smiling, supporting you in your face, and then talking shit about you behind your back, and or really feel a different type of way about you behind your back, they're doing what they can't do. You get it? You understand? You get what I'm talking about? You understand what I'm talking about? It's deep. It's deep deceit. All the way around. All the way around, it's deep deceit. Let me give you a personal example of what I'm talking about. When I came out to my mother and my father at the age of 17, I had already done the necessary test, in regard to what I liked and so on and so forth. And I had been performing this test for years. I'm talking about since elementary. And I knew what was up. but I tried to go in a different direction, and I was no longer able to do so. So I came to, in a lot of ways, terms at the age of 17. And I shared that with my parents. I shared that with my band members. I shared that with my friends, so-called friends. I shared that with some teachers. I shared that with some neighbors, and or some neighbors already knew about it via my dad, because he used it as a way of bullying me, getting my neighbors to bully me, my brother to bully me, my sister to bully me, my sister's friends to bully me, my brother's friends to bully me, my own friends bullied me. I was kicked out of the band that I was in. I was a drummer in a band. They wanted me out, so they, because I came out, they had a lot of things to say about me coming out, behind my back, and they were mumbling things. They didn't speak up. They didn't speak up. They were mumbling things and saying things behind my back, and they want me out of the band. My father even said, "You shouldn't have even said anything. You shouldn't have said anything." So basically, my father told me I should have lied. My father told me I should have lied, but he was also the one that told me not to lie. So when I don't lie, then he tells me to lie. But then the reason why he tells me to lie is because of the judgment and the persecution and the hate that I receive from not only him and my mother and my sister and my brother, but my so-called friends, so-called family members, extended family, church family. I received a lot of hate at the age of 17 and upward from there because of my truth, because of my honesty. That's a prime example, just what I'm sharing with you now, of how an individual that is in a power position could be treated by not only their family, their friends, their loved ones, their church, their other co-workers, people in position of power. They would be subjected to, in a lot of ways, abuse and hate. So yeah, they have escorts that they see. They have boyfriends or girlfriends on the side. And truth of it is, why they go with escorts is because they're paying that escort for a service. They don't want that escort to be any more than what they desire for that escort to be. That's why they're paying them. And then here's the other side of the game. Here's the other side of the fucked up game, right? These escorts are telling the business of these elites in power what they're doing and who they actually are. Congratulations to you. Let's give them a round of applause. You not only got paid for having sex and basically being their so-called toy of pleasure, but now you're going to out them after getting your coin off of that person, and they no longer are interested in you because they moved on to somebody else. So now these individuals that knew who these people were when they first met them, knew what their agenda was, knew what their game was, knew that they were lying, knew that they were deceiving, right? They still dated them. They were still an escort to them. They still got paid by the guy, right? Or by the girl, right? And now when they're no longer together, when they're no longer getting money or getting paid, they want to out that person. What does that sound like? Blackmail? It's another form of blackmail, right? Because if they were still seeing each other, if they were still together, and he was still getting money, he would have kept his mouth shut. Which is what he was paid to do for a service. You do what you want to do. You do what the fuck you want to do. It's your choice. It's your life. Don't you forget. But the problem is that you have other people that want to decide how you should live your life and what you should do in your life and what you shouldn't be able to do. They want to subject you to their beliefs, their values, their feelings, their opinions, and that be law. While out in front, They're smiling in your face. They're pretending to be your friend. They're pretending to be on your side. And they really hate you. They hate who you are. They hate your truth and your honesty. And the reason why is because a lot of them, they themselves are not able to be truthful and honest about who they are. If they were able to do so, they would, and people would know who they are. And the problem is, they don't want people to subject them to abuse and or mistreatment because of who they truly are. Let's give some examples here. Those that like to rape, those that like to beat and or hurt or abuse their children, those that are pedophiles, those individuals that are actually toxic narcissists, those individuals that are in fact power hungry, but they manipulate to get that power. Those are just a few examples. There are many more. If these people were to be found out that they were any of these things by those in their circle or those that they're around, these people would distance themselves from these individuals as well as show straight hate to them because of what they have engaged in or what they engage in. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. And it really is hard and difficult nowadays to find truthful and honest relationships with other people, because you don't know if that person is going to use whatever you share with them against you. You remember that song by Kelly Price? She was a friend of mine. She used what she knew. She lied, cheated, slept with my man. That is just one scenario. There are so many other ones. I'll leave it at that. Gotta go. Bye.